my friends. Joy over here. Thanks for joining me on your mats. And this is Hatha Flow All Levels. Today's class, we're going to be going back to the basics. So basically covering, some of the classic poses in Hatha. Also working, with alignment, finding which gives us stability. So it's nice and grounding, right? When we know what we are doing and it feels good and we feel, we have that stability. So I hope y'all enjoy. We're gonna get started today in child's pose. And remember, in child's pose, your knees can be as wide as your sticky mat if you wanna get a little bit more sensation in the hips, or you can also bring the knees to touch and you're gonna feel this more of a stretch in the low back, all right? So let the sits bones get heavy towards your heels and stretch your arm bones in front of you. Taking this opportunity to fully arrive to center. If your forehead doesn't touch the floor, feel free to take a block, or you can make fists with your hands and stack. Start to cultivate that body-breath connection right away. Try to slowly disconnect from anything that's external, any external distractions. Whether it's any sounds outside, anything visual, and start to bring awareness to the breath. Now stretch your arms even more and walk the hands to the left. Stack your right palm on top of your left hand. On your next inhalation, walk the hands back to center and then to the right. Again, if it's available, stack your palm on top of your right hand and feel the nice stretch on the left side of your body. And come back to center. You're gonna shift yourself into a tabletop here. And the alignment is roughly shoulders over wrists, knees under hips. Fan your fingers nice and wide and tone the belly. You're gonna inhale, arch your spine and lift your gazes slightly. Exhale, curl, tuck your chin, round like a Halloween cat. Inhale and exhale. So this is a good way to start to link your breath to the movement, right? A simple cat and cow. If you notice you're feeling distracted, you can always close your eyes for a few moments. Remember that your gaze is going to create your experience. And you can start to add a little bit more movement and explore here the breath and the body. You can start to draw circles with the hips, and you can even shift the weight forward a little bit more into the wrists. So remember, this is your time, right, to cultivate self-care, to clear space in your mind and your physical body. So ask yourself, what is it that serves you? Last one here. And we're gonna find a neutral spine. Again, pull your navel right towards the spine. So draw your belly in. Now we're gonna go into thread the needle. So inhale, reach your left arm up. And exhale, bring your left arm under. Rest your head on the floor or a block. Your right hand can stay right in front of the chest. Or for a little bit more, you can walk the hand over towards that top left corner, and you may hear your shoulder popping here. And slowly start to soften here. So the intention in this pose is really to open, right? To rotate the rib cage and the chest turns out to the side. It may feel uncomfortable, if you're not familiar with this pose, if you don't do it often. So try to find balance between effort and ease here. In yoga, our intention is never to struggle, right? Struggle can be part of the process, but we try to clear space so the breath and the energy can move freely. All right, start to walk your right hand back under the shoulder. Press yourself all the way up. Inhale. And as you exhale, extend your left arm in front of you. Now you're going to extend your right leg behind you. Make sure your toes are pointing down towards the floor or reaching straight back. If this is not available to you, both hands can be on the floor, okay? We're going to add a little bit of core work here. So the variation will be both hands, and you just round your spine and draw your knee towards your nose. If you want to challenge your balance, take a breath in, exhale, bring your elbow to your knee. Inhale, exhale. 2 more. Last one. Inhale, lengthen, pause here. You're gonna bend your knee. Maybe this is where you stay and bring your hand to the floor. Otherwise, your left hand is gonna catch your foot or your ankle. Now watch so your right shoulder is not coming towards your ear. Press through the palm. Shift your gaze to the side. Activate through your foot. And slowly release. Move through cat and cow to reset. You can even stretch the wrists a little bit. All right, and we're gonna go into that thread the needle on the other side. So this time around, raise your right arm high, and then exhale. Bring your head to the floor. Choose an arm variation that serves you here. But remember, the most important thing is to not lose connection to the breath. Can you hear your inhales and your exhales? Start to walk your hand back under the shoulder. Press yourself up. Inhale. Create space. Exhale. Reach your arm in front of you. Extend your left leg behind you. Find your balance first. Again, modify if needed. Big breath in. Exhale. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, round. 2 more. Last one. Inhale, lengthen. Bend your knee. Curl the hamstring. Again, option to just place your palm or catch your foot or ankle. Now stay active through the palm as well, my friends. Breathe into the quad, hip flexor, into the chest as you rotate your rib cage. 1 more breath here. And mindfully release. You're gonna curl the toes under, and actually that set up a good foundation for your downward dog. So keeping the shoulders over the wrists, you're gonna just find a plank pose. So find that long line here. Without moving your hands and feet, you're gonna lift your hips up and back. And some of you may be like, hey Joy, I cannot touch my heels on the ground. That's totally fine. You can bend your knees here as much as you need, especially if you're feeling discomfort in the hamstring and the low back. Now, really press firmly through the palms, right? The fingers are wide. Press your finger pads and knuckles down. Try to shift the weight away from the wrists and shoulders. Tone the belly, the quads, and then start to walk towards the top of your mat. Take baby steps here, no need to rush. Your feet are gonna be roughly hip width apart. You're gonna press your hands on your shins, so halfway lift here. So make sure you find a long spine, right? A long line from the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. So press firmly through the palms so you can wrap the shoulders down and release. Again, one more time. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale to bow, Uttanasana. Last one, breathe in and breathe out. You can bend your knees generously here and round your spine, coming all the way up to stand. Circle your arms, Urdhva Hastasana, palms touch, hands to the heart. So we're gonna start to move through some sun salutations here. Or Surya Namaskar, that's what we call them in Sanskrit. And we're gonna move through A, B, C today. So we're gonna start with A. And this is great for you, something for you to do at home, you know, if you're feeling, you know, tired or perhaps low energy or anxious, you know, stressed. You can just move through some sun salutations at home on your own. It's very simple and it's very effective, all right? So I always like to do everything with my feet hip width, but you can bring traditionally your feet to touch. So inhale, sweep your arms. Exhale, you're gonna fold, heart leads the way. You can either bring the hands towards the midline or you can bring your arms out to the side like a swan dive, okay? And then slowly fold. You're gonna inhale, halfway lift. As you start to exhale, plant your hands, step back to your plank. Now 2 options. You can bring your knees to the floor, shift forward, lower down, or in one piece, lower down. Hands under the heads of the shoulders, tone the legs here, press the feet on the ground. Inhale, Cobra Bhujangasana, bring the shoulder blades to touch behind your back. And release. To press up, you can come to your knees first. You can do child's pose, or level 2, you curl the toes, lift your knees, press to the top of a push-up, downward dog. So remember, we have options, and it's not just about, you know, being brand new to yoga or a little bit more advanced, but we need to adapt. We need to modify. Sometimes you're dealing with an injury, or some days you're just really low energy, right? So it's good to know variations, modifications for the poses. Inhale, lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Hands to heart. All right, follow your breath. Inhale. Exhale, fold. Again, long spine, belly is strong. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, step back. Notice if you tend to step the same foot first. See if you can switch it up. As you inhale, take your back bend. You press up and back, downward facing dog. Find stillness in your downward dog. Enjoy the pause here. Yoga is about enjoying your journey, right? It's not about the final destination. Bend your knees, look forward, step or jump. Breathe in and breathe out. Inhale, rise. Last one. Exhale, draw the energy to the heart. Inhale, you can even press the hips slightly forward now, adding a little bit more of a back bend. Exhale. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, step back. So again, remember, it's the breath that guides you. That sets the rhythm. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward dog. Two breaths here to reset, to reconnect. Inhale, look forward, exhale, travel to the top of your mat. Breathe in, lengthen. Breathe out, fold. Inhale to rise. Hands to the heart. All right, good. So now we're gonna move on to Surya Namaskar B, Sun Salutation B. And you will notice that all the Sun Salutations cover a lot of poses, you know, the classic poses in Hatha flow. So bring your feet to touch, or again, you can keep your feet hip width. Your big toes touch, your heels are a sliver apart here. So I want you to inhale and exhale, sit low. So as you sit low, make sure you can touch your fingertips on the floor here. That's how low you want to get those sits bones. And your arms reach up, or you can take your arms in front of you, or even prayer in front of the chest if the shoulders are feeling very tense. Now, remember, if your big toes are touching, your knees are squeezing together as well. If your feet are hip width, your knees are hip width. Make sure you can see all 10 toes. Your belly draws in. Make sure you're not arching too much, okay? So try not to tilt. Just lengthen your tailbone. You don't have to tuck your tailbone. Just reach it out down towards the ground. And fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, you can plant your hands, a step or jump. Now you can lower halfway here into a chaturanga, and then take that upward dog if you want. It might be too much on your low back. Raise your right leg to the sky. So here you want to make sure both hips are facing down, right? Both hip bones, the toes are pointing down. Step your right foot forward between your hands. Now before you come up, plant your left heel on the ground. It's about 45-degree angle. Inhale, come up. So that left big toe here points towards the top left corner of your mat. Plug your right hip back, so square off the hips. Now notice if the ribs want to splay out. You want to draw the ribs in, pull the belly in and up. Warrior one, Virabhadrasana one. Soft shoulders here, strong legs. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands. Keep exhaling as you flow. Bring your left leg high. Step your left foot forward. Plant your right heel. Inhale. Same amount of attention, awareness. Remember, you can always modify. If you're having a hard time squaring off the hips, that front foot can go out to the side a couple inches here. We have one more breath. Inhale, look up and lengthen. Exhale, frame your foot. You can float or just press back into downward dog. So if you start to lose connection to the breath or feel tired, you can always skip the flow, or perhaps if you're dealing, with any wrist, shoulder, low back injuries, I'm still recovering from my hand, so I'm gonna skip a few flows here. Inhale, bend your knees, look forward, step or jump. Big breath in. Slow breath out. Sit low, chair pose. Take your hands to the heart, press through the feet, and just stand here, Samasthiti. You're gonna do one more, Sun Be Friends. Inhale, sit low. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands. Move like you. If you're stepping or jumping. If you're jumping, you're landing with your elbows bent already, right? Inhale, cobra or upward dog. Press up and back, downward facing dog. Raise your right leg, step your right foot forward, plant your heel, rise, warrior one. Now as you start to exhale, you're gonna frame your foot and move through that flow or press back, downward dog. You can even just hold a plank in between. So ideally we wanna move one breath per movement, per pose here. Inhale, left leg high, exhale, step your foot. Inhale, rise. Exhale, flow. Downward dog. One more breath here in stillness. Bend your knees, look forward, make your way to the top of your mat. Sit low, chair pose. Hands to the heart. And standing. All right, now we're gonna move on to Sun Salutation C, which is gonna cover different poses, right? Which is really nice, the working with the variations. So inhale, sweep your arms out and up. Exhale, we're gonna fold. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, just step your left foot back. You're gonna bring your knee to the ground. Untuck your back toes. So your right knee stacks over your ankle. Inhale, sweep your arms. Square off the hips. So we have low lunge here, Anjaneyasana, which is a really nice stretch into that front of that left hip. Maybe a little bit of the quad, the psoas. So for you guys that are very flexible, just make sure you're not sinking here into that hip joint. So still, you wanna press the hips slightly forward, but you're still engaging, right? Breathe here. One more. You're gonna frame your foot. You're just gonna step back into downward dog. Now step your left foot forward. Take your right knee to the ground. So again, set up that foundation here. And then inhale, reach your arms high. If you can get those biceps by your ears, lift your gaze slightly, keep the hips square. On your next exhale, frame your foot, and now you can step back to your plank and take your flow or skip. You're gonna step your left foot forward, step your right foot forward. Take an inhale, lengthen. Exhale, bow. And rise. Hands to the heart center. Big breath in. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lengthen. Now you're gonna step your right foot back this time. Take your knee to the ground. I'm gonna add a little variation here. You're gonna see many variations of this sun salutation. Raise your left arm. You're gonna add a twist. Brighten the fingers. Frame your foot. On your next inhale, reach your arms high. So every time you revisit a pose, see if you can go a little deeper, find something new, right? Explore. And frame your foot, step back, downward dog. And you're gonna step your right foot forward. You're gonna add that twist, peel your chest open. Frame your right foot. On your next inhale, reach your arms high. And then frame your foot, step back to plank, and move through your flow. We have 3 mindful, slow breaths here. Bend your knees, look forward, make your way to the top of your mat. Take a big breath in and a breath out, fold. Again, inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inhale to rise. Hands to the heart. All right, let's work on a little standing balancing pose here. Balancing poses are great to bring us back to the present moment, right? To keep us grounded and focused, moving, with intention, keeping that awareness. So you're gonna bring your feet to touch. You're gonna inhale, reach your arms out and up. As you exhale, take your right elbow under the left, and you're gonna twist your arms like ropes, but if your palms don't touch, just bring the back of the hands, or you can simply hug your shoulders here. So this is Garudasana, eagle pose. Sit nice and low here, like your chair pose. Now, just lift your right heel off the ground first so you can really feel the weight shifting into your left foot. Now, as your belly engages here, you draw your knee as high as your hip or a little higher. Wrap it around. Maybe this is where you stay today, or bring your big toe to the floor. Otherwise, level 2, start to point your toes back. Maybe hook your toes behind your calf or all the way to your inner ankle. Now, keep your arms where they are. Just start to bring your knees to the right a little bit more. Try not to twist here your hips, so your hips are still squared, pointing straight forward. Start to lift your elbows to about shoulder height and bring your hands away from your face. And release. Shake it out a little bit. This is a challenging pose, right? There's a lot going on. We're stacking all major joints, engaging the legs, twisting the arms, trying to breathe and balance all at the same time. So, thank yourself for trying, for your efforts. Inhale, sweep the arms. Exhale, take your left elbow under. And you may notice it feels a little bit different. Sit low, and now just lift your left heel off the ground. So find that connection of the right foot on the floor with the earth, and then raise your knee, wrap it around, cross your leg, and then start to refine your pose. So make sure you're not folding, right? We want to keep the shoulders over the hips here. So everything from the waist down is nice and solid, strong, squeezing together. Everything in the upper body stays soft and easy. How's your breath? And release, shake it out. Good work, friends. All right, come back to the top of your mat if you're not there already. Inhale, reach. Exhale, you're gonna lace the fingers behind your back. Walk your feet hip width or a little bit wider. You can soften your knees as much as you need here. And then exhale, fold. Raise your knuckles away from your spine. Feel the nice stretch in the low back, shoulders. And mindfully release. Big breath in, lengthen. And as you exhale, you're gonna step your left foot back. You're gonna bring your knee back to the ground again, but now you're gonna walk your right foot as wide as your mat, so that edge of your foot is parallel to the edge of the mat. So lizard pose. You can drop down to your forearms if you want, or you can slide blocks under your forearms and hold it here. The intention of this pose is to keep your spine nice and long, right? Keep that long line again from the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. Just gonna get a little bit more into the hips. Last breath here. And then you're gonna walk your foot towards the midline again. So you're gonna line your foot with your hip. From here, curl the back toes under. Just shift your hips back as you extend your right leg in front of you. So you're not sitting on your heel. Lengthen that front leg. Keep a soft bend on your right knee for runners stretch, or this is also known as Ardha Hanumanasana. Some of you may feel this more in the back of the leg or more in your low back. Just try to avoid doing this, right? We want to keep everything open. Last breath here. And then rebend your knee. And you can flow, or you can just step back to downward dog. We're gonna step left foot outside left hand. Right knee comes to the ground. And you can, some people like to add a little bit of movement here, rocking a little bit back and forth. You can stay in stillness. Again, you do have the option to come down to your forearms. One last breath, slow. Walk your left foot towards the midline, curl the back toes under, and extend through your left leg. For those of you that like to work with props, the blocks comes under the hands. Take another big breath in, slow breath out. And then rebend your knee. Option to move through one last flow here before we start our cool down. Or just again find your downward dog. And then you're gonna bring your knees to the floor, and you're just gonna roll to one sit bone here, finding a seated position. We're gonna do a few seated movements. So you can cross your legs in easy pose, what we call easy pose or Sukhasana, and we're gonna add a little bit of side stretch here. So make sure your sits bones are pressing evenly on the ground. You're gonna inhale, sweep your arms. Exhale, take your left hand to the ground. Reach your right arm up and over. Just make sure you're not closing your chest, right? So your chest stays nice and open. And then start to bring that arm over your ear. And come back to center, breathe in. Switch sides, breathe out. Come back to center. This time you're gonna fold, just take your hands in front of you, and maybe this is where you stay, or you can walk your hands all the way down. Maybe your forearms comes down to the ground. Walk your hands slowly back, and we're gonna switch sides. So now meaning you're gonna bring the opposite shin in front. The way sometimes you have to think about it. So we're gonna revisit those poses, and we're gonna try to go a little bit deeper. Inhale, exhale. So maybe your forearm comes all the way down, and if you have a block, it might be nice to have a block under your arm. Just make sure your right sit bone is not coming off of the ground. So both sit bones stay nice and rooted here. Come back to center, inhale, and exhale, switch. Come back to center, breathe in, and we're gonna fold once again. 5 breaths here. Walk your hands back and come to sit again. We're gonna take a twist, a seated twist. So just a gentle, simple one. So you're just gonna rotate to your left. So take your right hand to your left knee, your left hand behind your back. So shift your gaze past the left shoulder, but stay active here. So you inhale, lengthen, exhale, twist. And switch sides. Shoulders down, one more breath. Twist a little more. And back to center, circle the arms, palms touch, draw the hands to the heart. All right, my friends, thank you so much for joining me again, for watching this video. You're gonna come to your Shavasana, your final relaxation, which is the most important pose, your opportunity to just simply absorb, receive all the beautiful gifts of yoga. So no more efforts. Lay down, extend your legs as wide as your mat, relax your arms, close your eyes, and I highly encourage you to spend at least 2 to 3 minutes in your Shavasana. I hope you join me next time. Thank you.